Curtice Brothers is a new quality ketchup brand that promises to challenge the likes of Heinz, whose products you can find in a majority of restaurants the world over. What is also interesting is that this boutique ketchup has brought back alive an old brand that ceased to exist already decades ago. Mario C. Bauer is the man behind the new products. We caught up here at Midori House to talk about what it took to launch a new ketchup.
I travel a lot and I found everywhere in the world the same ketchup, and it's quite obvious which brand I mean. It's the only ketchup brand we know. And by following the restaurant industry as a professional but also a client, I see more and more high-end meat restaurant, good burger restaurant, people paying attention now what is behind the main product, but nobody really paid attention on the condiments. And there is no great ketchup out there. There's no ketchup you like to eat as a hedonist, basically, with your good piece of beef or with your burger. So we really approached it as a hobby first. We said, okay, let's cook the best ketchup for us. Let's make a ketchup what we would like to have with our grill, with our Wagyu beef. And this was the way how we approached it. And that's why it is different, because it was never planned to be a mass production. It was never planned to be big. We really cooked with friends and cooked it the way how your grandmother or your mother would cook it, putting the best ingredients in. Don't think about the food cost. Don't think about is it scalable or not? Just cook a great ketchup.
So what is the difference then between a great ketchup and the type of ketchup you normally find from restaurants?
The answer is in the world. You normally call it tomato ketchup. And what you find in the shelves of the retail, it almost has no tomato in. You look, just buy random ketchup, look at the bag and see how much percentage of tomatoes is in. It's under 20%. And we taking 77% of tomato, and that makes a huge difference on the taste, yeah? And also, one thing, you harvest tomato one time a year, and this you do when it's seasoned, and then you take it and then you cook it. It's not a generic product what you can or what you should replicate all around the year. So we buy the tomato directly from Italy in Tuscany. We found a great farmer. He harvests that for us. We source all the ingredients around this production. We put in apples, we put in garlic, we put in onions, we put in chili, and everything is harvested there. And we just take it when it's ready and then we cook it. So we try, like a good wine, that it tastes, that has a taste profile like a cuvée, but obviously our main ingredients, over 77% is tomato, and this will vary from year to year depending on the sun, depending on the weather, and our art needs to be like a winemaker to make every year the best out of it.
What can you tell us about the first steps you took then? You said that this whole thing began almost as a hobby, but it quickly became something more serious.
Yeah, it was just an idea I took off. I was in Oman, I remember that was 2.5 years ago. I was in a hotel in Muscat and was sitting at this breakfast table and saw in Muscat the same brand what I referred to and said, this is not possible. I traveled to Japan, I traveled to Mexico, I traveled to Muscat. There's only one ketchup in the world. How could that be? That was the idea. And then I shared with friends, because I have a philosophy that I only do business with people I would go on holiday with. So I shared a bunch of friends that who wants to help cooking ketchup. And obviously we're all hospitality people, we all run different restaurant chains, and we're coming from this background. So we started cooking, and then one friend of mine with whom I did that other business with, he stumbled about a great old brand. Because besides the philosophy on how this should taste, we obviously need a brand. And we stumbled about a brand from 1868. It's called Curtice Brothers. It's a really old heritage brand. And at the end of last century, at the end of 19th century, it was same big as Heinz. And we have great old photo material where you see Times Square, and on Times Square there's a Heinz advertisement, there's a Curtice Brothers advertisement. So it's a really, really rich old brand. But it went bankrupt somewhere in 1940s, and this brand was lying around. And we loved the artwork so much, we loved the graphics, we loved the story. So we contacted the family because we never wanted to pretend that we are the Curtice Brothers. We are not. We just want to kiss this great brand alive and put in our philosophy and put in our values, because obviously back then the brand was not organic and didn't have the values what we have. But we got the sanctus basically from the family. They loved that we kissed it awake. We registered the trademark, and then suddenly we had a trademark and a great ketchup.
How do you see reviving this old brand has benefited you?
I think first of all, we did it for us, because when you do something, you really want to be proud and you want to have a name and you want to have a logo, what you liked. We brainstorm a lot about names, and this one we put on the table and everybody said, we love it. And everybody to whom we talk, our first clients now, or everybody loves this brand. It's just a positive brand. And we also believe that we could kiss awake some heritage value, because there is some things what we believe in our value, that we really make no compromises, that it's the best quality. And therefore we need a frame and we need a name. And then the other funny thing, we're 6 people, 6 guys, 6 brothers, more or less, doing that together. So also for us, it's a nice framework. Although we are not the Curtice brothers, or Curtice, as our Italian friends call us, when we don't pretend, it still feels nice to have a brotherhood doing that.
So what is happening now then? Where are you now? It's quite a job, I would imagine, challenging a company like Heinz, for example. It's quite astonishing that business, for example, has in some countries 70% market share.
Yeah, I think it grew out of a hobby to real small business. I made the jump now. I quit my full-time job by end of the year. I was in the restaurant industry and I really commit now full-time to this, because I saw the more and more time we spend on it, the attention we get. And as I mentioned before, we see this brand as a brand at the start for restaurants. We have a great network in restaurateurs. We approached our network and people love us. And we have now the first 20, 30 clients. We started in Copenhagen with our friend Martin, who runs Café Sokkelund. We're very proud that we are on all the Flatirons here in London. Did a great trip in Berlin to get the first great partners, as we call them, Curtice Brothers partners on. We have the best steakhouses in Bratislava and Vienna. So we're starting now from city to city, really finding people who believe in great quality, who run restaurant with a soul, who are hands-on entrepreneurs and who follow this idea. And from this on, we hope to build a great ketchup brand.
Exactly. What is the future plan? What is your goal?
The goal is now really to find out what the market wants and what the market needs. We believe in our taste, but we need to file a little bit on the packaging. Is it the glass bottles as we're doing now, the 380 grams? We now will produce these small glass bottles, from the minibar and from the hotels, the 60 grams. We really believe in the design of the bottles. You have it in front of you. It's a really, really nice, iconic glass bottles, because we believe that the design of the logo, the design of the bottles should go hand in hand with the quality of the ingredients. So that's all really contributing by building a brand. So the short answer would be, our goal is to build the ketchup brand for people who love food, who appreciate quality, and who want to put on their steak, on their burger, not just a random sauce, but put something what has a soul and has La Dolce Vita in a bottle.
And just finally, what kind of lessons have you learned of ketchup industry so far?
We have learned everything or nothing. We had no clue. We still don't have a clue, probably, how to produce professional ketchup. We're learning daily, because when we started in our home kitchen and we cooked 5 kilos and then we cooked 10 kilos and then we cooked 20 kilos. And the last time we cooked 5 tons. And obviously that's quite different how to do that. And we're learning daily how the ketchup reacts, how to scale the ingredients. But we have a motto, and it's no compromises. And at the end of the day, we're there with our Italian friends in the production, and we see how the apples, how the onions, how the garlic react with the tomato and cook it. And we still try, although obviously we're now producing bigger scale, to stay with our value and to really cook it and taste it in between before we fill it. So it's a lot of fun, a lot of learnings. And I think if I will be here again in a year or so, I can share much more, because it's really early days, but exciting days.
That was Mario C. Bauer of Curtice Brothers Boutique Ketchup.